San Antonio tonight here on NBA TV. DeMar DeRozan just 5 of 14 in that game, in no disrespect to the Rockets, but what can only be described as a bad loss for the Spurs. Part 2 of that 2-game series happens next here on NBA TV. Hey everybody, great to have you with us for the CarMax pregame. That is Dennis Scott right over there. I'm Matt Weiner. Good to see you with us. Our game coming up at the top of the hour, and of course we'll be keeping a very close eye on Brooklyn, where tonight James Harden will make his Nets debut. He'll be in the starting lineup for the Nets as they take on the Orlando Magic. All 4 teams, all 7 players have cleared. The trade is now complete, and everybody can move on with their new teams. Of course, the Rockets granted Harden's wish by trading the 3-time scoring champ to Brooklyn, where at some point he figures to complete a Nets big 3 along with his former teammate Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Between them, they have 24 All-Star selections, 7 scoring titles along the way. Steve Nash, a short time ago, talked about Harden and what he means to this team.
Excited. You know, we welcome one of the best players in the game to our team. So there's a lot of excitement just on his resume and his talent and his excitement to be here. So the mood is great. And, you know, this is just tonight is the first step, having him play a real game with us after, not really any preparation time. You know, this is a moving target that we have to try to incorporate him as we go here and learn on the fly, adapt, and try to gel and come together and put each of our guys in a position to succeed.
How close are we to Kyrie Irving rejoining everybody and being ready to play as well?
Yeah, hopefully we're close. You know, I can't really give you a firm update on that. We have to assess that as we go. We do want to make sure he ramps up accordingly so that he's not susceptible to unnecessary injury and protect him the best we can. But hopefully it's a short period of time. And, that is to be determined, though.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, Steve, I know basketball is fairly universal, but I mean, when you're playing today, James hasn't had any practice time at all. Do you have to basically have a James Harden offense and then readjust that again whenever Kyrie comes back and have a Kyrie and James Harden? Or do you just say, we do what we do and he'll work it out?
I think it's somewhere in the middle. You know, I think James is familiar with some of the sets we're going to run. We're trying to keep it very simple tonight. The trick, in a sense, of the process is having our 3 guys learn to play with one another, off one another. And that goes for the whole roster, but primarily those 3 in that they, are in a unique position in a sense to be playing together for the first time and to be sharing the load like this. So that's a process, and it's a process for our team, but it's uniquely a process for those 3 as well. So that will take time, and it's a great problem to have.
It is a fascinating equation now in Brooklyn, and it is a good problem to have, as Steve Nash said, but it is a little bit of a problem when you have 3 alpha offensive players and 3 of the top usage rate guys actively in the NBA. And really, if you consider the roles currently of DeMarcus Cousins and Carmelo Anthony, you're talking about 3 of the top 5 usage rate guys in the NBA right now, all at some point playing together. Now, we've asked similar questions of James Harden when he was with Chris Paul and when he was with Russell Westbrook. We ask it again now with Durant and at some point Kyrie Irving. How does this work?
Well, I think Steve Nash is going to have to figure out which guy's willing to sacrifice more. We saw Kevin Durant go to Golden State, and he sacrificed because he figured out how do I blend in with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They went on to win championships. Now it's up to Kyrie and KD to have that heart-to-heart conversation with James Harden, like, hey, guy, we know you're an MVP candidate. We know you can lead the league in scoring, but this is what we've done to win championships. Kyrie can say, you know what, I might have acted, the wrong way in Boston, but guess what? Let me remind you guys that I was pretty good when I played with LeBron and Kevin Love back in Cleveland. So how do we have a heart-to-heart, real basketball conversation? Because you're right, Matt. On paper, that's 3 one-on-one alpha dogs. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. Are you going to play defense? Well, I'm not playing defense. You're going to play defense? I think that's the bigger problem. Kevin Durant has showed us he'll go rebound the basketball. The other night, he showed us he'll get 13, 14, 15 assists. But on any given night, Matt, Who's going to play that defense? We saw Chris Bosh in Miami give up his offense and block shots and rebounds and take charges to win championships. That's what I want to see. That's the message I think Steve Nash has to send. Guys, we know all of y'all can score. Y'all have that green light and take the ball whenever you want to. But how are you guys going to come together along with DeAndre Jordan? Oh, wait a minute, Matt. What if he gets in foul trouble?
Right.
Jeff Green has to play some 5. Kevin Durant has to play some 5. So those are bigger problems versus talking about scoring and all the ball handling stuff. That's when you really get deep into that coaches meeting and saying, how are we going to win ball games consistently when we play the better teams?
Durant, to me, is the least of their problems offensively because he can play without the ball. He doesn't need tons of shots to score 25 or 30.
That's right.
They can use him in pick and roll if they want to. He hasn't done a ton of that in his career, but with Harden, with Kyrie Irving, of course. It's the other two who basically are both point guards. Both shoot first point guards. I mean, Harden racks up a bunch of assists or has in Houston, but it's mostly off him driving and kicking to folks. So I wonder what the offense will look like, you know, beyond the questions about defense, which is a whole other discussion, but what the offense will look like when the three of them are on the floor.
Well, I think that's what I think Steve is trying to figure out. If we have some type of flow, if we're in the half-court set, what does that initial play look like? If you're in the pick and roll where you're playing to James Harden's strength, yes, be in the pick and roll. But if it's a 1-3 pick and roll, they're probably going to switch that, Matt. And now guess what? You're feeding right into the defense's hand, one-on-one basketball, everyone stands still, and now there's all sets of eyes on the one-on-one player. That's the thing that Steve Nash has to figure out is how do we get flow? Is it 1-5 pick and roll? Now it's harder to switch because now DeAndre Jordan's on the point guard and now you can, go at the mismatch. As Steve Nash navigates through those problems, they'll figure it out. But still, Matt, the more defense you play and get stops, now you're in transition, less half-court sets, and these guys can flourish that way.
Normally I would say that's a real question mark because both Harden and Irving are considered minus defenders.
Of course.
Durant certainly has his moments as a rim protector. But I don't know. The league has is tilted so much to the offensive side of things. I don't even know if it matters anymore. I think you have to have possessions here or there when you can make some stops, but you no longer have to be an elite defensive team.
Matt, it's true in the regular season. You're right on point. But we've seen even in the bubble, the reason the Lakers won is because Anthony Davis and the rest of those guys played the defense and took the Nuggets' life away, right? You get to the finals. Miami was great. Got down to the point, the Lakers locked them down and won the championship. And if we believe Brooklyn is that good offensively, they're going to have to figure out a way to play some type of championship defense. Otherwise, they're going home early like the Clippers did.
Yeah.
All that offense, but they couldn't figure out a way to play championship defense. That's why they went home early.
The difference is the Lakers were really good defensively season long,
all season
not
long.
just in the
and then turned it up when things got a little shaky. There you go. They got back better.
Yeah. Do the Brooklyn Nets have that gear defensively? I
don't know yet. We got to wait and see that. And that's the part where people, why are we already judging? We haven't given Steve Nash a chance to have a few practices and get guys on the same page. Some people are like, automatic champions. No. I want to wait and see. Let's let them play a couple games.
No,
first.
we can't do that. We have to do it immediately. You have to have a hot take. That's what we do. You have to get way ahead of the thing before it ever happens. Of course, this is not the first team to try their hand at a big three. They become the latest. That label first came about, in my memory at least, when the Celtics added Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen to Paul Pierce in Boston. They won a title, of course. Miami followed. LeBron, Chris Bosh joined up with Dwayne Wade. They made it to 4 straight finals, won a pair of championships. And, of course, Kevin Durant was already part of a big three when he joined the Warriors and won a pair of finals MVPs, playing alongside Steph Curry and Klay Thompson before getting hurt in the finals of year 3. Now, KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. And, of course, 3D, you know a little something about formidable trio.
Oh, man.
Don't you? Kenny Anderson, Brian Oliver, Georgia Tech's first ever Final Four team.
Wow.
And by the way, for folks who don't live in Atlanta, we are like 100 yards from their basketball gym where we sit here.
Whose idea was this? No, this is awesome. K.A., Brian Oliver. Oh, man, the good old days. But, hey, we all sacrificed. I got to give a big shout out to Malcolm Mackey and Johnny McNeil. They were part of the starting lineup. But look at those numbers, man. We were getting buckets.
Well, that's crazy for a college program to have 3 players average 20 or more. That's really hard to do in a 40-minute game.
My goodness, man, we was getting buckets like that.
Absolutely.
Well, the way the game's playing, you're up and down, you're playing more, you're shooting more threes. But I say it again, I got to give Malcolm Mackey and Johnny McNeil